YouTube, here we come. Going live. Taking a second. Okay. Done. Got it. Bam. All right. Here we go. Might get an echo. Let me turn it off YouTube. Okay, we're live now. So thanks for going live. There we go. Okay. Start the recording. Welcome. Here we are. Cleaning up a few things. You got it, babe. Well, we love seeing your comments. So I just turned on the comments. Our Coffee Connect, Carlos and Chantel.
Coffee disaster
Cleaning
this
up the
morning.
studio. All it takes is a little kick. Kick from the table makes a mess.
Oh man.
I'm glad it's usually me.
He's glad it was me this
That's right. I am.
time.
Once in a while. She doesn't. But most of the time it is me.
I was bringing the coffee in and just kicked the table. I set it down, kicked the table. All downhill from there. Has that ever happened to you? Am I the only one?
Make you feel like the snowballs.
You know what? You know what the other thing I do? I'll tell myself. You know, when we work out, we come home and I make you know, I have the shaker bottles and I make the amino acids and the creatine, right? So I do that. Whether it's those or whether it's our protein shakes, because you know, we also do a protein shake when we get home. If I don't have the lid on it clicked all the way and I go to shake it up, I can't even tell you how many times I have shaken that shit up and it flies everywhere. All over my kitchen, all over my clothes. Usually I'm in my workout clothes, so that's not the big deal, but it's a mess.
Yeah.
You don't even know how many times I do that. It would make you feel a lot better.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well,
no comments.
It's a great day. I know, right? Are people there? There's
Nobody.
A lot of people there for no comments.
None of you do that?
I turned on the chat. Usually people chat with us.
Are you sure you turned it on?
I did. Look at that.
Oh.
Everyone. I did good.
Nobody's awake yet.
Right? No, we appreciate the chats and the comments.
Their cup of coffee too.
Well, good morning and welcome. We are live.
What a mess.
And we always say it's not scripted. It's just raw and real. I was thinking about this like that we do Thursdays. But I was actually thinking that on Tuesdays we should go out and be out and about somewhere on Tuesdays on the ranch. I think it'd be fun, like with our phone. Maybe. Oh, there we go. We got some. There we go. Waking up. It's comments finally coming. But yeah, I was thinking that because we could do it with our phone, and I would like to do that once in a while because it's our ranch.
But we don't always have the best service.
Yeah, well, we're working on that. But the point being is like, yeah, I think sometimes it's good to see our paradise. Good to see what we enjoy.
Can you hear the
live ranch footage? See that?
Can you hear the allergies in our nasal passages?
Yeah.
Man, it is thick up in here in Georgia.
Yep.
Carlos was having a whole conversation with ChatGPT last night.
That's right.
About pollen.
About pollen in Georgia and allergies. And I realized my mom reminded me of this the other day. She was like, "Oh yeah, when you were younger, you had a really bad, severe allergies to grass, fresh cut grasses." I remember what she told me. See, I don't know if you guys can see that. There's like this rash here. and then it will sometimes, yeah. And it's like really bad right now, like after being outside in the grass, out around that, all that. And then my nose is clogged. I got this rash on my back. And it's funny because I realized it
Takes
is
him back to his
connected.
childhood.
I know my mom was remembering that. I was like, well, but I guess it is very much so connected to that. But I love being in the grass. So it's like, oh, well, just do it.
Yeah.
Because
It's
I love laying in the pastures with the cows, laying in the grass, and my dog's laying next to me. And so, yeah, that's one of my,
happy places.
for sure, which represents like just getting out, being present, peaceful. Where's your happy place? Oh, I was grateful to Jesse and Anita playing doing it live out on the ocean, out on the
The
beach
beach.
last night. That was cool. Seeing their happy place, it's definitely, you could see the joy, and for the sunset they were there. It was really cool. So yeah, what's your happy place? I know today's our more business oriented day. Our coffee connects, we're talking about the work-life balance and some of the things I was processing through. Like,
Jesse says the beach is my happy place. Layla is our flower garden. It's
it's so
awesome.
good. RCTV from the beach, love it. It's good. And yeah, some things this week that's been coming up. I think part of it was because we had an emergency pretty much to fix our bridge at our ranch. So we have this creek that goes through our ranch and a pond. And man, all the time, probably 100 times, I probably said to you, how much I want to work on that pond. There's something in me that wants to do that. Like even working on it,
Oh,
yes,
we've
for
been talking
2 days.
about it since we moved here, which is almost 4 years ago.
Just I want to make that pond so nice. Like I want to. So some fun fact that you guys may not know about me too is like when I was younger, the one thing that I did was I built waterfalls and ponds. I had a landscaping business from a very young age, and that was
Another fun fact about Carlos.
that was one of my favorite things to do. Was it felt like I was creating. Well, I was creating with Papa God, but I also through that process I learned about the ecosystem and balance, and you to have a really good successful pond, you have to have a good ecosystem, which is not, it's so cool. It's like life, right? We talk about environment and the greenhouse. In the greenhouse, you control your environment and ecosystem too. In a waterfall and pond, you need the flow of water to have a successful ecosystem. And one of the things that I've wanted to do with our pond is to create more flow, like put a waterfall in it. Well, we actually have a waterfall. And so I was noticing when I was working on it the last 2 days, part of it why we had to work on it was because of the emergency of our bridge. Our bridge was getting washed out and cars going over it. It just was getting to where it wasn't safe. And so,
especially if you had a low car, like, my mom's or my dad's, you're like, ooh, gonna bottom out down here.
so Jay, who is my handsome, incredible brother-in-law and my buddy, it's Michelle's husband. Michelle's her sister. They get accused of being twins. Yeah. Anyways, it's her oldest sister too.
Okay, you just keep going.
Well, it's real. Like I did the same thing when we first met. So, anyways, they look a lot alike. Let's just put it that way. And so, um, we worked on it, and we rented some equipment. Then we had issues with equipment. Breaking down that we rented was not even our fault. It just broke down. We got it here and then wasted that time a little bit. But the one thing, like I said, getting out there and working on it, I just realized how much I love doing that in the sense of it being so peaceful. Is it hard physical work? Yeah, definitely. In the sun and the heat. But getting out there and doing it was super cool. And I think part of me too was just like, look at what we have. We have this pond and there's fish in it, there's life. And as I was digging with the excavator and cleaning out the pond edges, and it's not a balanced ecosystem right now. It was clogged up. There was not a very good water flow, so it kind of got stagnant. You can't even see below an inch or two. Have you noticed too where the water's moving now? You can see there. You can see through that stream. It's really cool because that's again, it's flowing over rocks and gravel that came from the driveway because that driveway gravel got washed into it because we've had tons of storms this year, big storms, major like floods, and so we're just doing that repairing the bridge. And then, yeah, I pushed a boulder down next to, because that was part of my vision to create waterfall, but also to create just a nice area for us. And it was cool. I pushed this boulder and it's right under this tree. There's a big tree next to our pond. Pushed it down next to the pond. And then I dug out next to that boulder in the pond area, right? Because I pushed it next to it. And I'm like, this would be a great area to fish. So I created a fishing rock, right? Because yeah. So I was like, man, this will be so much fun to go. And so yesterday, that's what I did too, because her and Hazel went on a date. And I literally, the thing that I love is just taking my dogs and going for a walk on our property and then just sitting. Oh, that's a hawk. I can hear sounds outside. I'm like, that's a hawk. I wonder if he's going after our birds. Anyways, sorry, squirrel instead of this case, hawk. Hear him squawking. But so I went and I sat on that rock and I was just like, I just want to keep working on this. Like like a project. And remember how you did that with Kona too? Like I feel like this is my therapy. I was looking at this pond going like, I just want to make this gorgeous. I want to partner with Papa God and nature and create a beautiful, gorgeous ecosystem. Like the ponds that I used to build, the ecosystem was so beautiful and so balanced and they were small. So you had to clean them every year because they were small. But you could see to the bottom, you could see all the fish in there, all the animals. But the cool thing, I don't know, did I tell you this? Like when I was cleaning out the pond, we found snakes, which they're water snakes, which are awesome for the ecosystem of the pond. Secondary, there was crawdads in there.
Yeah.
And we have snapping turtles, crawdads, fish, and snakes all around our pond. And like I said, they're harmless snakes, not poisonous. They're really very beneficial. But I was like, this is so cool. We got a cool pond. So just fixing it up and making it usable because a lot of our pond edges being
You need another some more time on an excavator.
yeah, I do. Because we were focused on the bridge and I just snuck in a few little spots of making the pond look nicer. And it does. It looks a lot nicer too, even. And the flow is there. That was part of it was getting clogged up from our pond to where then it was backing up over the bridge. That's how tall it had gotten because of the lack of flow. Now that we got flow, we could clean that pond up nice. It could look really good if we had good water flow. And so we have a natural stream that comes down. I'm kind of geeking out on this stuff, aren't I? That's why I put my glasses on. I was like, but
Use your glasses to
but this I know, right? One of the things that yeah, some things that are coming up. I always like to talk about revelations, but maybe you should talk for a little bit. I'll drink some coffee. Kind of in Gabby mode.
Go ahead. What you got?
No, go ahead.
What is your revelation? We can't do that. Like
I want to hear yours.
I don't have a train of thought now because I'm listening to you and wondering what yours is.
Well, because it's like it's something you and I talk about all the time. We've been working on. It's balance, and I realize that balance though is, and you'll be able to help me spot it even the way I used to be in this. And when I think about even my previous marriage and we were full-time ministry doing worship, right? But then also church, every time the doors were open, we were there. And I was thinking about this, like it's a mentality of being selfless, less of me, more of he, right? Like, and it sounds really spiritual. But I will tell you, like, and people can grab verses out of context to support that. But what it creates is a codependency on ministry. That's the revelation that I was seeing. I was like, I used to be very codependent on ministry, that that's what fulfilled me, was to be selfless, but it wasn't. It was actually draining me in the sense of, and what I've realized in processing this was like how important it is to be selfish. Y'all are like, probably, that's fine. I hope it triggers you. So I like to do that. Selfish, because, go ahead.
I would actually, it's okay. You go ahead.
Oh, you keep going.
I have a
Why don't you
whole
write it down?
different, okay.
She's gonna write it down so she doesn't forget. That's a smart thing to do, because I'm gonna finish my thought now that I started it. Thank you very much. Because she is gonna bring a whole nother perspective. That's why I brought it up now. And I'll tell you that a lot of this stuff has been coming up in me, and I've been thinking about it, but I wait now. I actually process it for a while before I actually talk to her about it, which is so beneficial because it disrupts a lot of our personal time when I bring it up to her. So now you get to see me bring it up during our coffee connect. But let me finish my thought. So I was thinking about this, and then Papa's word to me too, Galatians 3:5. And Papa in that word says, do you think that miracles come because you do the works of the word and do ministry? Or do you think they come because you hear of the miracles happening and then you believe? And man, I tie things together all the time. Like, I always have this theme that I'm doing. And right now I've been listening to this thing that's a compilation, probably one of it is by far the best compilation I've ever discovered. And I've listened to thousands of them. Motivational speakers and trainers, and it's about 2 hours long, 2 hours and 33 minutes. That's a long stinking time to accumulate, but they're speeches from like 2013, from like the 2000s all the way till now. So we're talking like almost 10 years, 20 years worth of speeches, or 10 years, excuse me. And so it's really, really good and powerful. But in one of those speeches, it says, it talks about the 4-minute mile. I love Les Brown. Les Brown is one of my favorites. And because where he comes from, I think reminds me from where I come from, in the sense of, yeah, anyways. But if you don't know Les Brown, you don't understand that. That's fine. I'm not going to go there. It's a whole nother rabbit trail. But Les Brown says, that the 4-minute mile, Roger Bannister, I think his name is, broke the 4-minute mile. And he finally believed it could be done, and he did it. Well, then now it's a standard. Like, everybody does it. Like in high school, they do it. Like, why? Because somebody else did. So now they know it can be done. They believe it, and then they achieve it. Well, where was the miracle? Before, if you go before Roger Bannister's time, right? The people, like if you take a high schooler and put him back in the future before Roger Bannister, they're going to think he's a superhero, because there's 10,000 people now that would be considered superheroes if they would have broken that 4-minute mile before Roger Bannister. Do you see what I'm saying? So where was the miracle? Was the miracle in doing the work and the ministry and the word, or was it actually believing because somebody else did it, knowing that it can be done? So what mentality does it take to do that? Now, how does this all tie in? You're like, what the heck? Well, because the ministry mindset makes me believe that I got to be selfless and always giving of myself in everything that I do, everything. And what's been shifting for me is like, that sounds pretty damn selfish to just work on the pond. Okay, when it's the ministry mindset, I'm talking about my old ministry mindset, to work on this pond for me and nobody else. I don't give a shit about anybody else. It's just for me. Do you follow me? Like, I want to work on this pond. I want to spend time with my dogs. I don't care if anybody else helps me or anybody else is there. All I want to do is do it for me. Now, can others enjoy it? Yeah, I actually had a vision of taking my daughter there and fishing with her, because she likes to fish, Hazel. Taking Chantel there and having a little picnic. Like the benefit will definitely be, but what I want to do is create it for me. I want, and it's like motivating me to have a tractor, even like I'm now limited because I rented that thing and I'm like, I want one for myself. And I talk about all the time, ask her that. That's true too. But it's like pulling the trigger to do that. Well, here's the other part that happens then. Well, we got like this other bills, we got this, we got that, we got debt we got to pay, we got this payment, we got that payment, there's all these excuses of why I shouldn't do it. Right. And I'm like, but this is for me. This is what I want. So is that enough? Because I want something to be selfish. Can I really lean into being selfish? But I realize, man, me being there and doing that, I feel so good. Like I am in a freaking really good ass mood today, goofy and playful. And I've been kind of serious lately, but like out of the blue, like, is that on accident? I don't think so. I was a little selfish yesterday because I wanted to do podcast stuff. I had work shit I needed to do. I got a list of it. You guys want to talk about lists of work and things you need to get done? I'll give you a list. I got a freaking list of make you go cross-eyed, I promise. And I'm willing to do it. And I do it. That's why I wake up at 4:30 every day. And some nights I don't stop working until midnight. Some nights. Okay. Just real. But I realize I need to be selfish and do those things because man, it does feel good. It was fun. It was really fun just to sit and look at the snakes, a bunch of snakes and stuff, and look those up and geek out like, oh, we got crawdads, all this life in our pond. So, all right.
So
That's all I got to say about that. Jenny, what do you got
So I
to
think
say?
it's interesting, right? Because Carlos has the ministry mindset background. Okay. So the lens that he sees through is always going to be, not maybe not always, but it is tinted with religion, right? It's tinted with how he sees religion and what he's discovering as he's not controlled by religion anymore, right? So he's experiencing, I mean, has been for years, but experiencing new levels of freedom and shifting mindset and those kind of things. So myself not having the ministry mindset background, I see things differently, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
you talk about ministry looking selfless,
Yep, exactly.
but I see it as very selfish.
Mhm. That's right. I agree.
Hold on.
No, I love it.
Why? If our motivation is always for approval, validation, what I'm doing for God, how God sees me, how it's all about me. Like, is it truly a heart posture of giving? Or is it ego? There's so much ego that I see in a ministry mindset. So that offends you. Sorry. Not sorry, actually. The other thing is when we talk about balance, and like Carlos is talking about taking yesterday felt selfish,
Mhm.
right?
Hey, nice balloon party.
But if if we balance our lives and are really intentional with filling our cup up with what feeds your spirit,
Yeah, it's good. Okay.
he just said, I'm in a freaking great mood today, right? How much better is he for not only himself, and his mental state of mind, but for those who he's serving, those who he's pouring into, right? Because he's filled his cup and now his heart posture is full. So he's giving from a full place.
Yes,
That is selfless.
it is.
So I say flip the script.
I agree. I agree. It's just being able to recognize what it appeared to me as,
Right.
right? To recognize it and be like, well, I'm gonna lean into it. But you're right, it actually is selfless. And the other thing is this ties into we have some amazing leaders we work with and multiple leaders, not just people in our community, but leaders outside of our community and and so it's cool to see some of their examples of who they are. And I remember one of the things we we're discussing was finding that fulfillment or identity even in the doing versus the being. The doing the ministry stuff or if I call on you to do something and you tell me no, that you've let me down and you're not a leader then, right? And so that was profound to say the no was actually showing, for me, it was showing me that their priorities were their family and their kids. So the power of no, it seemed like it was selfish. If you look at it from the surface, well, wait, you're supposed to be a ministry leader or you're supposed to be the spiritual leader, and you said no to preaching or teaching. Now, that's not the case here, but I'm just saying that's the same example.
Right.
Like I said, when I was full-time ministry, I thought I needed to say yes to everything. And I actually realized I was creating that then in others to make them believe you're supposed to say yes to everything having to do with God, quote unquote, and serving what man calls serving. And I realized that I serve people better by my example than I do with my doing. And so I even see how Jesse did that yesterday. That was super powerful. Him and Adina going to the beach and then even doing their radical TV, a radical connection TV there. That was super cool.
Yeah.
Because that example is like, look, I have my happy place and I have my joy. And this is where we go to find it. And this is what we do. We don't always have to be working.
And listen, if we find ourselves and our cup is not filled up, who's responsible for that? I am. If I find myself that I have not filled my cup up with the thing that feeds my spirit, that feeds my soul, whether it's time with my horses, this week, for me, it was time with my mom. It was hours and hours. So
But my old programming says that comes from reading the Bible and praying. That's my old program.
Right.
That's my history.
Right.
Like I was not, even my previous wife, that was her big thing over me. She would be like, well, I pray and study 4 hours a day. What are you doing? And I really took that as a competition. Like that's when I would dive in and study and get in the word for hours and hours and hours too, breaking it down in concordance and Greek and Hebrew. So again, I think that's not a bad thing, but yet it's interesting how that becomes the thing that makes you spiritual.
But
then.
why?
Why?
I'm saying the why behind it.
Because
why did you do it? Because you felt
that's
challenged.
what I was, yeah, and that's what I believed was made me spiritual. That's what all the leaders around me were saying was the priority was to pray and read.
But
more.
You're missing what I was saying. I was talking about what fills me up.
Well, that's the reason why I said that was that's the contrast that I was told, or I was led to believe. What do you believe and why? That is what's going to fill you up. That's what I'm saying. Right. Your practical part of being filled up is what you've always helped me to see since we've been married. Like even how I was like, how can you know God and love God when you don't go to church? Like that was my judgment of you, and you were like,
in the water at the beach.
Yeah, she's like having a spiritual moment with Papa in the water.
That's where
And
my
then
connection
also
was.
it was the fruit of your relationships.
Mhm.
You knew no stranger. You loved people well. You had friends everywhere you went. Your friends talked how much you loved and blessed them. And like that, your mom and your dad know that you love them because you spend quality time. And we've set up those things to keep us flowing back with them,
Mhm.
right? Our kids. That's why we have our set appointments with our kids. We have set appointments to connect with people randomly. We have friends from different, club volleyball. We have friends from, Vinny from doing volleyball because we chose to be a part of the booster club, right? We met them through that. And, I know a lot of times we've had friends from church and things. So it's all different walks of life. And that's what I love. So I'm going back to what you said. You're right. Your happy place and you're getting full is because you're looking for that, but it doesn't have to be tied to religion or ministries or church stuff. That's what I'm saying. Or what people call God.
And so I want to challenge you too, because there was something that, you can live challenge me with Carlos. Yay. Guess what?
Bring it on.
I'm PMSing, so the
Superpower. She's more
superpowers come out.
sensitive and she's more in tune. Like, it's beautiful. Bring it on, baby. I'm gonna press in. Yeah. That's the physical manifestation of like.
So on Tuesday, you guys may have watched it live, but I had expressed my inner battle of, my horses, spending time with my horses. So Tuesday is a time, usually like that I address home stuff or the ranch. Like that's my day that I can do whatever I want. Well, I said something, and this is what I realized. I said that I'm challenged with the inner battle of should I, because the horses are shedding so bad, all of the allergies are so bad right now, and my sinuses are challenged. So do I even want to do that? And instead of pressing in and maybe asking for understanding, immediately Carlos's response is, "You do." Why? Right? Well, because he knows that I like to get a lot of things done, and you know what I mean, that sometimes I won't take time for myself. However, what I want to challenge you with is that no, everything that I do on that day is for myself, is feeds my spirit in some form of fashion, even if it's organizing the bedroom or something like that. So
It's good.
it's not, I I don't think it's fair for you to assume
Yeah.
that just being with my horses is gonna fill me up, or that I'm gonna have, you know what I mean?
So what's your challenge?
My challenge is to don't put me in a box on Tuesdays, or
And don't try to fix it all the time. That's because that is me kind of trying to fix it.
well, yeah, it's
Don't
like,
assume and don't
well,
affect.
and so here's what happens, right? When he says you do, then I feel all of it automatically. I get this layer of, well, I should do that. Well, then it takes it out of it. It takes the filling up out of it.
So this is good. It's really good. And we're gonna tune out because we've got another appointment. But it's actually you feed yourself because you have the freedom to do what you want.
Right. Exactly.
That's the difference.
Yes,
It's really good.
exactly.
Versus me
And
trying
so,
to create, then putting her in a box, say you have to do this, you have to do this. I mean, we do have standing appointments, but even
right,
in those appointments, we have freedom. And I
right.
realize like we have fun adventures with mom and dad. We have our appointment, but we do different things with them. Same with Hazel on date night, right? We
Well,
had a cool
so
date night last night with her.
yeah, but even Tuesday, right? So recognizing that he was going to rent equipment, I wanted to bless him with the time freedom to work until he couldn't anymore, right? And I also, so I said, I made the decision, but I realized that I had to push through I should go be with my horses extra,
Yeah.
right? To really process, okay, what do I really want to do? Like, what
Yeah,
would really fill me up? What would bless me? It would bless me to see you freaking on the ranch, getting dirty, not in your new jeans.
She-
But until it's dark, right? To just have the freedom to do that and not have an appointment, not have anything that you have to stop for. That blesses me. So what can I do? I took dad to lunch, spent quality time with him. That way he could take Hazel to volleyball practice, and I spent the rest of the day with my mom. I took her shopping, we had sushi, and it was just really precious time with her and recognizing like that it was needed. I needed it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just for her. Sometimes it's because we know that they need, time and affection and time with us. But this was like literally like filling my cup up with being with my mom.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, like she's 81 and she's in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And there's more and more health stuff happening and you know what I mean? Like, so it was a blessing for me.
But the beautiful thing about that is we will not have any regrets when she passes. None. We've done everything.
Yeah.
Give her a home, ask her all the time what her dreams are, and help her go after them, ride in the sidecar, and then designate time with her. Still doesn't make it easier.
Yeah.
But we will not have any regrets at her funeral. None.
Yeah.
So
anyways, I say that to say, if we get caught up in I should do this.
yeah.
Then we don't have the freedom to roll with what our spirit actually needs.
And I think that's pretty cool that, we're establishing even like that. What's your freedom look like as a freedom day? Because that's definitely not Saturday. Saturday's rest. That's different. That's different. So it's definitely like a day you can work on you and do what you want to do.
But even so, like, is it rest to go up and groom the horses? Maybe. Am I limited to just a work day Tuesday on the ranch?
Right.
Or is it just like you? Is it cooking on Saturday? What is your rest?
Yeah.
What is your ceasing from what you normally do? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Don't put me in a freaking box.
Right. And then just being aware, I think I thought about that. Like when I came home from working on the ranch, she was like, well, let me go cook you something and warm you up some food. You've been working hard. I'm like, you're hanging out with mama. Like, stay in it. Like, I love that. I loved seeing that. I could feel that she was really, they were on the porch just chatting. And so I just need something to give me energy because I'm exhausted.
Went in and got cold leftovers and comes out and I'm like, you didn't even heat it up.
I'm too tired to heat it up. I just want to eat something. It was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Anyways, so that was my challenge for you.
Challenge accepted that I don't put you or anybody else in a box and assume that I know what's best for them or they need to discover it. But I will definitely challenge them to go discover it.
Yeah.
Figure out what that is. What does your freedom look like? And what fills you up that's not religious? How about that? Because again, we deal with that a lot. I dealt with it. I'm still working on it. Still, because again, there is a lot of that programming from my past. Hey, I'll have, man, woo, let's do a deep dive. We'll spend hours on it. I love it. I lose track of time when I go into it, but it's not something I have to do. It's something I get to do when I want to as well. So it's a cool balance.
Yeah.
Love you. Appreciate you. Thanks for bringing this up and talking about it. Thanks for challenging me.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for being willing to be challenged.
Why not?
So good.
All right. Love you guys. Have a great day.
Or not. It's your choice.
That's right. Good point.
You're in control of your day.
See you next week.
All right.